Hi everyone, I'm Chuck. Huawei is the largest telecom equipment manufacturer in the world, headquartered in Shenzhen, China. As a 30-year corporation, it has experienced a lot of crises. In this video, I would like to talk about the development of Huawei and dissect how it overcame the crisis, as well as transforming from a small company to the leading telecom enterprise. In 1987, Huawei was founded by Ren Zhengfei. Over that period, China was undergoing a massive economic reform under the open door policy, and Shenzhen was defined as special economic zones. This policy provided a conducive environment for Huawei to mobilize its capital and escalate its growth at an early stage. Huawei seized the opportunity and was benefited by demand soaring, low operating costs, and tax incentives offered in Shenzhen, as the government strived to build a modern telecom network across the country. In 1992, the Chinese government tightened bank loans to slow overheated economy. In order to raise capital and resolve its financial problems, Huawei started the employee shareholding system and raised about $9 million. The shareholding system complements Huawei's motivational system because the employees have more incentive to work hard for the company. Also, this discourages people from resigning. By the way, unlike the listed companies, Huawei has not gone public, so that it does not need to respond to short-term market fluctuations in the interest of public shareholders. Its decision-making process is therefore much more nimble and able to plan for the long term. Furthermore, Huawei is not required to disclose business details to the public, which protects Huawei from the leakage of business secrets to the competitors. When Huawei began, it had limited funding for R&D. Instead of trying R&D in several areas, it applied the principle of concentrated pressure, which was to focus on one key area of technology to achieve a breakthrough. As a result, in 1993, Huawei's independently designed CNCOA-controlled telephone switch was one of the most powerful switches available in China at the time. Meanwhile, in that year, Huawei rapidly expanded under its ingenious marketing strategy of encircling the cities from the rural areas, by which it targeted its services specifically to the rural areas, before gradually venturing into the urban areas. Through this strategy, it avoided the urban areas dominated by multinational corporations like Alcatel and Siemens. While we recognized the immense potential of rural areas for growth, they were also the perfect space for Huawei to test the markets for its products and start building relationships with the local government. In 1995, since Huawei rapidly expanded, it urgently needed to both transform from rule of government to rule of the law and adopt a systematic management approach to coordinate the company. When Huawei first started, the business was essentially a one-man show. The founder Ren Zhengfei controlled every single decision in the firm. To adopt a systematic management approach, Ren Zhengfei hired 5 university professors to formulate the law for Huawei. Huawei-based law is its most relied management policy. Incorporating both Western management strategies and ideas from Chinese ministry-recognized Sun Tzu's Art of War, Huawei-based law was officially signed in 1998. The law highlights how decisions should not be based on opinion of one single individual, reducing the influence of individual leaders on the firm and preventing myopic decisions. It also presents Huawei's ambition to outpace all other global telecom giants. Most importantly, it sets the tone for Huawei's culture of constantly striving for excellence, fueling Huawei's sustainable growth. In addition, in that year, Huawei generated annual sales of 1.5 billion RMB, mainly derived from rural markets in China. The success of encircling cities from rural areas strategy allowed Huawei to obtain a significant share of the market and relevant experience, which then helped tremendously in its venture into metropolitan areas. In 1996, due to the saturation of the domestic switches market, Huawei decided to venture abroad. It collaborated with Hutchison Telecom and opened up the market in Hong Kong. While Huawei had its first taste of success in Hong Kong, it did not proceed to target developed markets. Instead, it strategically chose underdeveloped areas such as Yugoslavia and Brazil. Its experience serving rural areas of China at affordable cost became its main competitive advantage in these regions. In 1997, as Huawei's R&D department lacked a rigorous and well-defined long-term plan, and coordination across departments was inadequate, Huawei invested over $200 million to hire 6 consultants from IBM. To design a systematic management system for Huawei, IBM recommended a comprehensive R&D management model called Integrated Product Development. For example, a mixed R&D group with staff from different departments was to form in order to facilitate interdepartmental communication. Over the following years, Huawei slowly adapted the system to suit the Asian business culture of the company, and eventually developed its own system of management. This reform was a critical turning point, as Huawei prepared itself for venturing abroad and growing into a global telecom giant in the late 2000s. In 1999, with successive R&D investments in its broadband technology, it took over one-third of the Chinese market from its foreign competitors. This success strengthened their belief in R&D. But the real test for Huawei was in 2000. Huawei was both internally and externally traumatized. Externally, the IT bubble burst and saturation of telecom switch markets heavily hurt Huawei, while a stagnant global market impacted Huawei directly. Competition also intensified domestically. To combat the global crisis, Western giants escalated their efforts to dominate the Chinese market, where demand was still growing. At the same time, they outsourced their production to China to exploit low labor costs, originally an exclusive competitive edge for Huawei. As a result, Huawei was met with aggressive price war. Meanwhile, there was a sharp investment pullback in China due to pessimism in the industry, foreshadowing a slowing market. Saturation in the Western telephone market due to decades of abnormally rapid growth further worsened the situation. Internally, Huawei also faced many problems. In 2000, it made the strategic mistake of focusing on GSM instead of CDMA technology, which the Chinese government soon decided to invest in. This led to loss of millions of potential profits. Moreover, in this period, Huawei was transforming its management structure by adopting integrated production management, which caused chaos due to incompatibility with the previous structure. Facing its unprecedented crisis, Huawei survived the crisis with a series of unique and bold tactics. Firstly, to raise capitals, Huawei sold its non-core production lines. Instead of going public, Huawei Electric was first established as an independent company, and then sold to Amazon for $750 million. This money acted as a buffer against potential future financial problems caused by the crisis. Secondly, to further solve its financial woes, Huawei reformed its internal shareholding system by lowering the per share price, because new employees were pessimistic about the market and reluctant to invest in the company. To stimulate more funding, Huawei changed the shareholding system so that new workers would only need to pay 15% of the cost per share, while Huawei covered the rest through bank loans. This successfully attracted investments from new employees and gathered significant capital for Huawei to survive this crisis. However, even during its financial difficulties in 2000s, Huawei still set a goal of devoting a fixed 10% ratio of its annual profits to R&D. We can see that Huawei gives R&D empowerment a role. After 2008 financial crisis, global economy was in recession. Next video, I will talk about what management and marketing strategies made Huawei stand out to the crowd after the financial crisis.